On today's MMO Thoughts, we're going to talk about your butt. Hey Internet, Mike Byrne, aka Magic Man here from MMOBomb.com, bringing you another MMO Thoughts. And as anybody that's ever spent quite a bit of time sitting on their butts playing some MMORPGs or any other multiplayer games on your PC or other device, you know that the seat is probably a pretty important aspect of whether or not you're playing comfortably. So today we're going to talk about gaming chairs, specifically DXRacer. I'm going to give you a little bit of a review of their new craft lineup as well. So if you like this type of content, make sure you subscribe, click like, let us know in the comments below what gaming chair you like, or if you prefer a $50 office chair from Office Depot, or whatever you're sitting in while you game for long periods of time. We want to know how it handles your butt. So let's take a little bit of a peek here. Full disclosure on my part here. DXRacer did supply the craft chair that I'm going to be showing you footage of, reviewing in my house and giving you some of my impressions. I've used it for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. Didn't just build it and slap this together, wanted to use it a little bit. But I am a DXRacer customer as well. You can see I have my current model here. I have an older Valkyrie model upstairs that you've probably seen on older free-to-play casts before it was the Always Online podcast. So I'm a DXRacer customer personally. And even though they've sent me this model, yeah, I'm going to let you know there's some of the things that I don't like about it along the way in this review, just to give you the overall impressions. Now, I know a lot of people right off the bat don't like DXRacer for a very specific reason. They feel like the cushioning is too hard, that it doesn't really, you can't sink into it and get comfortable. And that's a big deal for a lot of gamers. So I'm going to let you know right now, although the craft is a little plushier in the way the foam is put into it, it's still got that kind of rigid, not a lot of give to it that DXRacer chairs have. I actually prefer that personally, but I want to get that out of the way right up front. I know a lot of people think the chairs are, quote, too hard. The craft model doesn't change that. So let's take a look at what DXRacer is offering right now with its craft model. The craft model consists of a number of chairs that have designs embroidered on them already. And while they do build this as a customizable chair, that's a little tricky when you see the word customizable. It's not customizable in the look. You cannot change that. It's not customizable in the features that are on there, which we will go through in the review here as well. You can't pick and mix any of the features. Where they're saying it's customizable is in how you will actually sit in the chair. Will it be reclined? Will you use the lumbar support? Those types of things that can be changed as far as the functionality. As far as the way the chair is made, it is made in that same PU leather, that simulated leather that DXRacer chairs and other competitor chairs are made out of. It feels, like I said, a little bit softer than some of the previous DXRacer models. So I don't know if there was a slight change in their formula here or not, or if they just changed it up a little bit to make it a little more plush. You can definitely tell the difference side by side. You might be hard-pressed if you didn't have both two different models to sit in back-to-back like I did. That little bit of extra plush may come, I don't know, this would be a longer term, may come with a little less durability though, so that's something to keep an eye out for if you pick up one of the craft models. Now these bad boys are priced at $479 if you get them direct from DXRacer. So right off the bat, we are talking about a price point on a gaming chair that is going to be for a smaller audience to begin with. When you look at that price point, if you're willing to spend that price point for a gaming chair, does the craft hold up to some of the other models on the market by DXRacer's competitors? And here, I gotta say, at that price point, I think it falls a little short. That's not to say it's a bad chair. We'll get to the specifics. But at that price point, already a niche market, there might be better options for you depending on some of the specific features you are looking at. Getting to the chair itself, there are 7 designs: the Rabbit in Dino, the America Edition, Hello Human Cat, Spaceman, which is the footage you'll be seeing me use, that's the chair they provided, Koi Fish, Thinker, and then a classic black. And while the embroidery work is going to be hit and miss for you, you either like the style or you don't, those are your only options at this time. Now, they will probably cycle in and out new designs as they get them, but you can't order this chair and just have, say, your Twitch channel's logo thrown on the thing. You are stuck with these particular choices. Anybody that's not a fan of the particular designs, you're probably going to go with the classic black that just has the Craft logo and the DXRacer logo embroidered on it, and skip all of the artwork entirely. The embroidery is nice, so if you do like a design, it is a nice little extra, a nice little panache type thing. But like I said, if you don't like any of these designs, it's black or nothing at the moment. Stay tuned in the future after the recording of this video to see if they cycle different models in and out. Now, the Craft chairs are made specifically for a recommended height of 5'7" and 200 pounds, up to 200 pounds. And it doesn't mean that you're locked out if you're outside of those parameters. They can actually support up to 250 pounds with a maximum recommended height of 6 foot 0 inches. And this is kind of where we get to the first that I had on it. Initially, unpacking the DXRacer Craft model, it was extremely easy to put together. If you've ever put together DXRacer chairs, they come pre-assembled in a number of little steps to kind of keep the steps to a minimum that you'll have to take. But the Craft model goes a step further in a couple of those spots. Namely, the armrests are already attached to the seat, so you don't have to do that step. And there's also they changed the way that they do the guide rails for the back being bolted to the seat. There's one groove that one side goes in, and that basically guarantees you're going to be lined up. The rest of the assembly is exactly what you'd expect. Put the gas cylinder in the footrest, put the wheels underneath the footrest, slap the chair into the gas cylinder, the raising cylinder, and away you go. Now, as far as the feet of this, it is an aluminum grade, so if you have a DXRacer chair in plastic right now, you might appreciate the aluminum. It provides a bit more sturdy aspect to the chair. And since this chair does have the ability to both rock and recline and lock into those reclined positions, I think the enhanced stability of the aluminum stand does make this chair a bit harder to maybe tip over or knock over, particularly if you are outside of the height and weight recommendations on the models. Speaking of the height and weight recommendations on the models here, the Craft model does feature a little bit more room, I've noticed, in like the hips area, the legs area. And that's not to say like I'm crammed into a racer chair now, but this did have, even though mine said, give me some more space embroidered on it, it does in fact give you a bit more space. So if you're looking for a little room, that could be good for you. Where I found the Craft failed a little bit for me is because I am outside of the height restrictions. The weight was fine, but I'm 6'1", so that's just barely outside of the height restrictions. And for some of the features, that made a few things awkward. Let's talk about the pillow first, the headrest pillow. That is a memory foam with a cooling gel inside it. It is a nice plush pillow. But the way it actually attaches to the Craft is a one-size-fits-all through these little side loops. So if you compare that to some of the other racer models that give you the option of threading the pillow through the holes in the headrest or threading the pillow grips around the headrest, it kind of gave you one or two different options as far as where that pillow ultimately sat on the chair back for you. In the Craft model, the way the top is shaped, if you tried to attach the pillow without putting the pillow's wires or the tie-ons through the side tie-ons that I'm showing you here in the video, the way the headpiece is shaped on the chair, those tiebacks would actually just slide up over time until the pillow eventually popped off or was just so loose sitting at the top there. And because I'm 6'1", this singular tieback option for the pillow and just being that 1 inch out of its maximum height. Remember, it's recommended that you be 5'7", in which case I'm a full 6 inches out of the recommended height. But it says it can support up to 6 feet. I'm 6'1". It put the pillow in an awkward spot on my head, and I didn't have any other options. So for a shorter person, it's probably fine, and this is a nitpicky thing for me being 6'1", but you taller ladies and gentlemen out there, you might want to be aware of it. The other factor that this impacted was what I think is one of the best features of this chair, just maybe not for me personally. We've seen this on some of DXRacer's competitors where the lumbar support is built into the chair. A lot of DXRacer chairs for years have just had that lumbar pillow, like my current chair that I'm sitting on now, that you slide up and down and put into the position you want, but maybe doesn't offer all of the support you might be looking for. Well, there is lumbar support now built into these craft chairs, and you can dial it in on whether you want this just basically not existent or, shoving you right in the back with the little spin dial on the right-hand side of the chair. It's very easy to adjust to your particular comfort. But again, the height played into things here because there is no vertical adjustment on the lumbar support. You can push the support out or pull the support in for your desired level of lumbar pressure, but you cannot move the out and in part on a vertical axis up and down. So being 6'1" and just slightly outside of the recommendations for the height on this chair, it put the lumbar support in an area that wasn't exactly my lumbar area, which kind of made it uncomfortable. So I just took it all the way down to nothing. And at that point, now I want to put a lumbar pillow on the thing. So I go back to the lumbar pillow that I have. Again, your mileage on this type of stuff may vary based on your height and weight requirements in relationship to the chair. But being a little bit taller, you'd be surprised that just a couple of extra inches in height can kind of throw these off the way they're built. From top to bottom, I do like all of the features here. I like the lumbar support being added in. The pillow's comfortable. The seat is comfortable for me, but I will say it is a bit on the harder side for those of you that maybe don't like a stiffer chair to sit in. I love the armrests in typical DXRacer fashion. They are billed as 4D. They move up and down, slide left to right, slide forward and back, and then can also be angled to angular degrees of left and right rotation if you want. It does have the ability to recline and then lock that recline in place. It does have the ability to rock. And on the bottom of the chair, there is the little dial to give you exactly how easy you want to be able to rock this chair. Like, do you want it to be a full-blown rocking chair, or do you just want it to have a little bit of give to it? Overall, the quality is what you would probably expect from DXRacer. It's mostly the same materials with a few tweaks to try to make it a little more plush, a little more roomy, and a little more comfortable, with a few customizing quote-unquote features thrown in, like the lumbar support and the armrests being able to do their little thing, in addition to the rocking and the ability to recline and lock that in place. But I've got to say, my ultimate opinion on this one is, although I don't think the craft chair is bad, I think it's got some really weird limitations. I get the higher price point because you are doing the embroidery work for the art. However, there is not the ability to customize this. So you're kind of at DXRacer's mercy. Do you like the styles and art that you see now? If not, you're going to order just the straight black one. Or you're going to wait and see if they cycle different embroidery or different artwork in at another point. For me, the height requirement does make this less comfortable than my existing DXRacer chair, but as I said before, your mileage may vary on that. I'm 6'1". I'm not who this chair is made for by its own maximum requirements on the height being 6 foot with a recommended height of 5'7". So I'm just not exactly the audience. I do like the aluminum legs. It does make it a lot sturdier. And even at 6'1", I never felt like rocking in the chair or reclining. I was at risk of it falling down. It's easy to put together. If you put together racer chairs in the past, and it took you, 15, 20 minutes, this will probably take you 10. There's a step or two cut out of the process, but that does mean the box can sometimes be a little bigger than some of the other racing chairs. Think about it about the size of a card table. Is how big that box is going to be, and it's going to be about a little over a foot in height, sitting on a card table. So it is a pretty beefy box, and it does have the weight that you would expect a DXRacer chair box to have when it arrives at your maison. When we get to the end of the day, though, would I recommend it? For somebody of my build, my height, I would not. The weight requirements aren't a problem, but the height requirements are a problem. It does lead to some uncomfortable sitting. However, when I had my daughter, who is substantially shorter than I am, try this out for a number of days while she was doing things, she absolutely loved this chair. But the limitations on the artwork and the high price point definitely make it a niche market to begin with. You've got to like the style, and you've got to be willing to spend $480 on a gaming chair. For those of you that would prefer just a $50 Office Depot or Office Max chair, this isn't going to do it for you. This isn't going to entice you to jump to a gaming chair, specifically DXRacer. And I think DXRacer has to nail this down a little more, because they do have competition in this price point that do have some of the advanced options I was talking about, like raising and lowering the lumbar support. I'd probably, if we put it on an 1 to 10 scale, I'd probably give it about a 6.5. It's not a bad chair. It's for a very niche market, though. A very niche market. And I would highly recommend that you be 6 foot or under. You'd be surprised what a difference an inch makes. Anyway, let me know how you feel about gaming chairs in general. What's your favorite? Do you have the craft? Do you like it? Are you willing to pay for it? Do you like the artwork? Give me your feedback on this model and your favorite chair for your favorite long gaming sessions in the comments below. And until next time, gang, this is Mike Byrne from MMOBomb.com saying stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.